Hi everyone! So in this video, I'm going to be using my new oil pastels from Artecho that I just received a few days ago. I did an unboxing a few days ago for this set, and I decided to challenge myself by attempting to do a portrait with two faces. The picture you see on the left, the man and the woman. That is Nancy Salzman and Keith Raniere of Nexium. It was a famous criminal case of a cult a few years ago, and they're back in the news a bit. So I decided to, just for fun, do a portrait of them, and using the new oil pastels for the first time and trying that out with a portrait. So what I ended up doing, because this picture is so dark, and there's a lot of dark spaces, I thought that, that would take such a long time with color pencil. I said, let me use the oil pastels, and I know that I'll be able to fill that up and finish this. And this only took me a few hours. So, what I learned so far with using oil pastels is that not to go back and forth with the pastel, not to go left and right or up and down, back and forth, which I did initially when I got them, because it makes it more difficult to blend, because it'll end up looking blotchy, which happened to me on my coloring page. So now I know that you should scrumble them or use little circles to add the pastel on the paper. I'm using a drawing pad from Strathmore. It's drawing paper. I think it's series 400. So it's good paper, and but it is a little rough. There's a little bit of a rough texture. So I was very generous with the amount of pastel you put down. So that's another thing, you want to put down a lot of pastel on the paper. So unlike with color pencil where you might do light layers, here you want to make sure you really are generous with the amount of pastel you put down. And because once you start blending it, you'll see it gets much lighter and smoother. So yeah, so I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. It was very, filled up large areas very quickly. It's very dark, vivid, saturated colors. And the challenge, of course, is doing the details like the eyes and eyebrows and all of that. So that was a challenge. But, laying down the first layer of color. Another thing I figured out is that you want to add all your colors that you want down before you blend. So you don't want to put down a color and then blend it and then add another color on top, because after that point, very little, the tooth is flattened and it's so thick that it's like burnished. Like it's very difficult to add anything additional on top. I mean, you can do a little bit of highlighting, but in general, it's difficult to go back and sort of change the color or, go over it. So that came up later. Another challenge I had was I would use the Q-tips, which was recommended by oil pastel artists. I use Q-tips a lot, and also my finger, because of course using your fingers works really well. But the problem there was, like you can see on the left-hand side of her face, I accidentally smudged black onto the cheek area because I had that on my finger already from blending somewhere else. So that's like a hazard to look out for, dirty fingers, and not, transferring the pigment. So it's something I need to work on, another thing to practice and be aware of. So I don't usually use my fingers on my artwork with color pencil or painting. But yeah, so I loved how fast I could fill the page with pigments that was so dark and vivid, and just, so compared to other mediums, just so quick. Maybe watercolor is very quick too, but not this dark and vivid. And with these black colors in this particular photo, with watercolor, I would have had to have gone much lighter, and to try to get this dark would end up looking blah, So oil pastels, I think, are perfect for this type of picture, because I really wanted to get that darkness of the picture, because these are a couple of criminals, and it's a very kind of, criminal looking picture. If that makes any sense. Very dark and gloomy, and yeah, so I wanted to keep that drama of the picture there. So that's why I changed her suit color to purple, just because it's more scandalous type of coloring here for these two people. So yeah, but it was, again, it's a lot of fun using this. Just made sure to be generous with the amounts, and doing the background was fast and easy. I just picked a couple of different colors and just filled it up, and you see I'm like doing little scribbles instead of going back and forth like I did the first time. I'm doing little circles, and I'm using two different colors and alternating it. Right now it looks all black, but when I start blending it, you'll see it, you can start seeing this green and blue. So I kind of alternated that for a nice simple background there. Yeah, but it's a great medium, and it's so quick. And I mainly got these for backgrounds, but I may try doing more portraits with it, because it really, I wanted to try making it look like a painting at the end, and I think I succeeded. It's not exactly as I'd like it to turn out, but I'm still figuring these out and working with them and getting used to them. But I have seen some amazing portraits on YouTube that people have done with oil pastels. That gives me hope that with more practice, I could get some really amazing results that look like a painting. Again, the details are very difficult. So what I figured out to do here is I'm using the tip of the paper stump that I use for blending. I dip that into the oil pastel because it's very soft. Just dip that into it and then use that as like a pencil, just transferring the color that way. So you gotta figure out a way to, some people use a stick or something else to just sort of dip it into the pencil, the crayon, and then transfer it onto the picture. So I got pretty decent looking glasses and eyes there, not as exact as it would have been with color pencil, but close enough. So at least I got it. I got the lines in, and I felt like the stump worked well for that. And there's a few patches where I accidentally transferred that color on that cheek, and so I had to go back over, and you can erase some of it. So I did use my electric eraser a few times to erase mistakes. But with the color black, when I transferred by accident the color black, it was very difficult for the eraser to get all of it. So I went over it with a white pastel, and then used like a pink color for the skin, and it covered it pretty well. So it worked all right in the end. So it wasn't perfect, but it's my first time, and I like how it came out. It's very dark and foreboding, as I was going for. So I hope you found this interesting. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.